Welcome to the Hot Girl School, the podcast where we redefine confidence and go way beyond the reflection you see in the mirror.
We're your hosts, Lauren and Danielle, here to empower you to embrace your inner radiance because confidence is so much more than looks.
Whether you're strutting into an event or conquering the boardroom, join us as we explore topics like self-love, inner strength, and owning your unique journey to confidence.
So grab your favorite drinkie and turn up that volume because you're about to unleash your true potential.
Hey, hotties.
School is now in session.
Woo woo!
And we are so excited. We're going to talk about the hot girl mindset today. And what does that mean? Maybe some quick bullet points, obviously some takeaways. Those are the things that we love to give. And we both have an idea of what it is. I think for the most part, it's pretty integrated.
Yeah, there's so many. I think for me, I think we should kick off with number one, mindset can go so many places, right? Okay. And number two, we don't know everything.
No.
So we're going to share some stuff with you that we've practiced, that's tried and true. But I think this should be a nice reminder that everybody's trying, everybody's doing their best. Nobody's perfect. We live in a world of filters and what do they call them? The highlight reels.
The highlight
right?
reel.
And just know that like what mindset is something that you're constantly working on, and some days are going to be better than others. So hopefully we can give you some tips and tricks that'll help you on the days where you're struggling.
Yeah, we're excited. And it's funny because we actually, before we got to this episode, we had two very different ways of looking at it. Like you had your bullet points all set up, and I had a thought process of like where it starts and how it expands. And so we're probably going to go over both of them. So you want to start with a couple of the best ones on the list?
Yeah. So I think we could parlay because your concept is so good.
Oh, you like it?
And then we can move because I feel like it ties into some of the thoughts that I had.
Okay. So maybe like we'll start. Okay. So my thought process of a hot girl mindset is like it has to start with you. You have to choose how you are going to be, whether that's reactive, proactive. Is it one of those? Take initiative?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Take some action, people.
Right? Like to be decisive.
Sure.
I hate wishy-washiness. Do you want to be self-aware? Do you want to be on time? Like all of these things, like how do you want to control your life, essentially?
Sure.
So with that being said, knowing that it starts from the center and then it goes out, I would say like the outermost ring of the hot girl mindset, which is one of your favorite things, is being inclusive. And what does that mean? And how does that look? And what if that's not your jam? So let's start with the center, the self.
Yeah. Well, and so this, for my shy girls out there, this is probably where you struggle. You're probably nodding like, oh yeah. And so you could start there, right? By approaching somebody and just saying hello, or taking notice of like, is someone being left out? You can be the one to pull that person in and include them.
And it takes guts to go up to somebody you don't really know, or maybe somebody you've met in passing, or like maybe in your relationship group, like some of the girls aren't friends, but like being the bigger person and going up and introducing yourself if you don't know them, or making the effort is like so nice and so sweet. Whenever I see someone do that, I'm always like, oh yeah, like they're setting such a good example.
Totally.
And that's a hot girl. Like
that's a hot girl mindset. Absolutely. And I think that plays into a little bit about one of the things I thought would be that I've used that I think will be very helpful for anybody is, there's people you look up to. There's people that inspire you, people that you're like, gosh, she's really doing it.
Girl crush.
And yeah, I wish I could do that. And I want to take a moment to just say like, one of the coolest things about being human is we can literally do anything we put our mind to. Okay, so it starts with action, like you were talking about, being willing to take that step, telling yourself, you know what, I am capable. I'm capable of learning, being open to learning, being open to being coached, asking for help. And then my favorite thing to do, and this is what I started with, is a question that you can ask, and it's really simple. It's, why not me? Why not me? Like I think that because of social media and the internet, we see so much, like even us starting a podcast, right? There's a ton of podcasts on self-help, a ton of
Mm-hmm.
podcasts on confidence, but we didn't let that hold us back. We said, you know what? We might say it a different way. It might land a different way. Like we bring a unique perspective to it. And so do all of you listening.
Right.
So if you have something big you're wanting to do, a project, something that you want to put out there, do it. Ask yourself, why
Yeah.
not me?
And find the people who are going to support you, because finding the people who, which we've talked about this a few times now, like projection. So
Mm-hmm.
going to the people that you think are good friends and you're excited to tell them, and their reaction is maybe on the negative side or like I'm going to hold you back. What I
Those
don't,
are anchors.
yeah, I don't want to
You
say
got to
like
cut the
get
cord,
rid of them, but I definitely like keep
change the
in mind
relationship.
like, okay, that's not what I go to you for. That this
Sure.
isn't going to be, and that's part of the self-awareness is like, okay, I need to go find a new group who has bigger dreams, who wants to achieve more, who's going to inspire me, and I'm going to inspire them, and we can,
Support each other.
yeah, to get to the next step. And so part of that is like, how, like, do you respect yourself? Are you honest with yourself? I feel
Yeah.
like everything we talk about ends up like overlaying and overlapping.
Looking inward.
It really is. And when you can do that and you become comfortable with it, and then on top of it, you follow your intuition, which you and I both do, and we believe in that so much.
And maybe that's a starting point too, is part of getting a grip on your mindset is tapping into that intuitiveness
Mm-hmm.
and really taking a moment, because there's so much noise in the world and there's so much chatter, there's so much input, there's people that are going to root for you, people that are going to be like, I don't think that's a good idea, people that are going to make you feel bad because of how they say something. And so if you can just sit and be quiet and ask yourself, like, is this right for me?
Yeah.
Is this person helping me? Does this make me respect myself more or less
Yeah, that's a
by
great
doing?
question.
And tapping into that intuitiveness can help with, if you're struggling with mindset and you're feeling like you're showing up in the world and just being like, this isn't doing it for me. I have a
Mm-hmm.
bad attitude. I feel depressed. I'm canceling plans because I don't like my outfit, or I just, it all ties in. But really, the root is like, what's your mindset around it?
It really is. And so, actually, I did this little test. This was years ago. I probably do it once a year now. I'll take a week and it starts on a Sunday, and I just play with my words. I'm always playing with words.
Yeah.
And so, I start on a Sunday and I say, I do not have time. And I say it all day, every day when I feel like I'm running late, when I look at the clock, when I wake up, I do
Mm,
everything. And that whole entire week, I'm late, I'm stressed out, I'm panicked, I'm frantic. Like I hate the way I feel. So then
sure.
a week passes, it's awful. I get to the next week and I say, I have time. And I look at the clock, I say, I have time. I wake up, I say, I have time. I'm on my way to appointment, driving, I'm hitting every red light, I have time. And it just completely, I am calm, I show up early, I'm happy. Like how you talk to yourself really makes a difference, which my
Absolutely.
favorite book ever is free on Audible, called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And what is considered negative self talk are things like, I don't have time. And I think that that's we all think that negative self-talk is, oh, you're stupid, why'd you do that, what you like, those
Sure.
kinds of things, like, because that's for me at least, that's so direct. But to say I don't have time to me is not negative. I look at it as like, that's just a fact today, like I just don't have time.
Right.
But if you can switch your language,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, you have to see the results. If you don't see the results, you're not going to believe it.
Well, and to see them. So I
Mm,
want to elaborate on that,
please.
because to see them, you have to be paying attention to it. So if you're not even
Yes.
aware that you're saying these things or doing, and that's where awareness is such a huge factor, because you may not even realize how much negative self-talk is happening in your day-to-day life until you go, you know what? I'm going to take inventory of that. I'm going to check on it. I'm going to write it down. So you got to be aware, right? To
Yes.
notice how it's affecting you.
Yes, because we have so many just automatic thoughts that I'm sure even as a teenager, they're just like already
Yeah.
programmed in there. So yeah, that's like a little thing that you can try, is just play with your words and see how that affects you for a week. Maybe just try a few days and see.
Yeah, one of my favorites is when I'm doing things that I don't want to do, or that I'm like, this sucks, is I say, I get to. I
Get
get
to.
to. I get to clean this house. I get to do the laundry. I
Woo!
get to change that diaper.
And you know what? If you actually turn that into
Great.
like, I'm grateful
Yeah.
for the fact that I have money to pay my bills for the electricity to do my laundry. I have money to pay for hot water and I have hot, clean water. And you like kind of break it
Mm-hmm.
down, that gratefulness, like to me, that also is a huge part of mindset.
Yeah, so and that's exactly where I was headed, right?
Okay, good.
Is part of a hot girl mindset is practicing gratitude. And gratitude has been something that has gotten me through some really, really hard times in my life.
Mhm.
Is if you can just sit down and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Like I have this practice. It's similar. Lori Harder has this like Power 9, where it's like 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things that you're working on, and I forget what it is, but I always do the 3 things you're grateful for every morning, and it just makes me feel better. And just recently we have a home water filtration system,
Mhm.
and just this past week all of a sudden I had like yellow water coming
Oh,
out of my
shocking.
faucets. I was like, what in the hell is this? And just a little malfunction with the system, and they fixed it. But I have never said I'm so grateful for clean
Oh,
water
yeah.
more than I did this last week. And we're moving fast, and if you can just slow down, and there's always, I say to my kids all the time, there is always something to be grateful for,
Oh,
even on the
always.
worst of worst days.
Even okay, so two things. I say my things I'm grateful for when I get in bed. So
Mm-hmm.
you can do it both. And I do it at night because then I can recap the day. It's because it makes you find the things that you're grateful for
Sure.
on a shitty day, which feels
Mm-hmm.
like, ugh, nothing went right. And I'm like, okay, did I like my outfit? Did I have a good eyelash day? Did I have a good hair day? Right? Like you find these like nitpicky things, but they still make you, and you're like, okay, I actually did have a good day. And then you can go to bed with like a little bit bigger of a smile.
Yeah.
And I forgot the other thing I was going to say. So keep going.
Well, that's okay. I thought of something while you were saying that, and it's that search for, like, if anything, get curious for the lesson.
Hmm.
Because sometimes we're like, that really derailed my day, or that shitty thing happened. And sometimes that shitty thing is there to truly teach you a lesson. So when you're curious about going, okay, that really sucked, but what can I learn from it?
Hmm.
That can really affect your mindset as well,
And
and help you show up different. And God, you're collecting lessons.
oh, yeah,
How
that's
lucky are
huge.
you?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I'm just going to throw like a little try to have fun with it when it's shitty, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just out of your control. And like I find
Like,
myself
just start
laughing, just like,
laughing.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like, okay, well, didn't see that coming. So we got to change the day. Like,
Yeah.
and if you can be, especially like you're a leader, I'm a leader in our business world, when you have people who are following you and they can see you have more of a positive reaction versus like a, oh shit, da, 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 it just, that's like the ripple effect of the energy that you're putting into your company or to your business and to the people around you. And if you
Yeah.
want to be the leader, then they want to look up to you and they want to see the good things. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say, to add to that too, is like you don't have to always react. Like,
No.
even check your reactions sometimes to go, okay, I could take this 2 ways. I could
Right.
do the, oh shit, this is shitty, and FML and all this stuff, right? Or I
That
could
didn't feel
go,
so good.
that's interesting. What can I learn here? And it takes a lot of practice to be able to do that, because when shitty stuff happens, your innate reaction is to be like, this sucks.
Hmm.
But if you can start to practice the pause,
Yeah.
really look through it. And I think we've talked about this before, but it's my favorite, where you really ask yourself, like, is this going to matter in 5 minutes? Is this going to matter in 5 hours, 5 days, 5 years? Like, what is the threshold of my reaction negatively to this? Right.
That's a great one. The one I ask because real estate is so fast and people, no matter how big or small the problem is, it's always the biggest thing in the day. And because you become desensitized when you do certain things for a very long time, it's kind of like, okay, this is not urgent or really even important, but I know it's important to you.
Yep.
So sometimes I have to stop when I get overwhelmed with requests or people needing things from me. And I'm like, nobody's going to die.
I
That
am not
that
a brain
is
surgeon.
literally like how I get through the day. Sometimes like nobody's going to die if it takes me 5 extra minutes to get to them because you get so wrapped up in the moment.
Well, and everybody wants like instant
Mm,
responses.
thank you, Amazon.
Yeah. We do appreciate Prime Day, but yes.
It's kind of like just totally changed how we think about things in general. We
Well,
want
and
it
just the
now.
like shift of, and COVID played a huge part in this, of the work from home culture. It's like work doesn't turn off for most people these days.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see us get back to that. Like, I try really hard with my team to be like, do not look at anything on the weekend.
Hmm.
Or even saying, like, sometimes I'll send my assistant like the week, and I'll do it like I'm doing it on Sunday. And so what I've tried to do is like save it in a draft, but if I have a really busy morning, sometimes I'll fire it off and I'll literally label it do not read till Monday.
Yes. I'll say that too. Like, no rush, please read next week, or don't get
Yeah.
this done today. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to put a timestamp in there. We totally are.
Yeah.
This has still hot girl mindset, being self-aware of like,
Yeah.
okay, how is this going to affect you
Yep.
when you receive this?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think also, I don't want it to turn into like, gosh, we have to be perfect at not, because things are going to happen,
Oh,
right?
these
You
are
get,
just things that we've
yeah.
learned over the
And you're
years
going to
from being in
hurt,
business for so long.
and you might do things that hurt someone's feelings and
Yeah.
don't for another. And it's just, we're all human and we take things all differently.
Okay. So obviously being self-aware is step one, and there's a lot of arms and legs that come off of that one, which we went down a lot, right? Like how you talk to yourself, the questions to ask yourself. So what would be like the next layer of...
I think affirmations, because affirmations we can tie in like I am capable, I'm willing to grow, I love myself, like I'm doing my best,
I'm
and practicing,
I'm excited.
practicing gratitude falls into affirmations a lot, I think. So that would be a good takeaway. And then let's introduce the unicorn brainstorming for the takeaway.
You go for it.
So this is really fun. This is not my concept. This is actually a concept that Lululemon teaches.
Okay. I wonder where they came up with it.
Yeah, I don't know. And I actually learned about it through a podcast, and I wish I knew which one, because I would love to give them credit for it. So basically I heard about this concept, and I've been using it for probably about a year now. And what you do is you think of really, really big ideas. Okay. And then you ask yourself, what if blank? And you fill it in. Okay. And the way that it stuck with me and how I like to utilize it is with like a child's mind. So the idea is to have no restrictions on yourself when you're doing this exercise, and to really get rid of limiting beliefs and like no red tape. You can go as big as you want. So think about a kid, right? One day they're a princess, one day they're a pirate, one day they're cooking like fake French fries and eating fake ice cream. One day they're a teacher, an astronaut. Like it's limitless, and they can pivot and shift in minutes, really. Right. So it's finding your inner child and having that unicorn brainstorming session, asking yourself, what if I blank? Right.
It's giving yourself the permission, because I think we are always told no, not only in our childhood, but as you are an adult. And because people always are telling you no, you just like
outside
slowly
influence.
shave down what you are and aren't allowed to do. So eventually you become like this rigid person who just wants to get done what it is they feel they're allowed to get done in their box or their cage. So I feel like this is like, remove the filters and just take a step into la la land.
La la land, because truly,
go for it.
100%, you have to go for it, because it'll help you also see where you're limiting yourself. Like this can get into even like, I love talking about like your money mindset or your money thermostat. So if you don't see yourself having more money or getting that promotion or doing those things, you're really blocking that blessing. So ask yourself, like, what if I made $1 million this year? What would I do with it? Right. Just start really going down that creative journey and acting it out as a child would, and seeing it play out. And then after you've done that, start asking yourself, who do I need to be in order to make that happen? That's where the action comes in.
Okay. So do you want to, can I add on to for visualization? Like I'm a huge visualization person, and I always kind of thought that it was seeing it happen. But the truth is, when you want something to come to happen, when you want something to come true, you look at the end result. So like, for example, I got called on in this class that I was in, and they were like, what, let's just pretend it's for money. Think of your paycheck, and then you see your paycheck. So you have to go look and see what it looks like. And then you put the number in there, and then you have to, not only do you see it and visualize it, but you feel it and you think about it, and you like do a happy dance and you scream because it's the most money you've ever made, and it becomes real. And like, when that hits and you get that paycheck, that's huge like that. Since I was the example, I was like, all right, let's do it. And I got it pretty quick, probably within a couple months.
And did you change your behavior in that time?
I don't really feel like I did. I'm a pretty hard worker. Like I'd probably be dead if I didn't change anything. I probably didn't, but it was a different way that I visualized. So
Okay.
normally I would just
So you
kind of
did change your
like,
behavior a little bit because you started visualizing it differently.
correct, but like how to get there, I just kept doing what I was doing. Like, yeah, I guess maybe I interpreted that differently than you meant. Um, but yeah, that's a good one, and that's like a huge tip that I learned that I didn't
Yeah.
realize I was visualizing wrong. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
visualize the end result, and then you can get to where you want, but you can't just see it. Like, you have to feel it. And some people say you need to go as far as talking about it with people. I was like, oh yeah, I just made whatever
Sure.
X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And so to think about it like that, it's like you are living something because your brain doesn't know between real and true and false. And so yeah, it's just kind of a little hopeful thing that I picked up along the way.
Yeah, and if because like you said, you can't just visualize it, right? You can't just have
No.
this vision and then it's going to happen. You have to take the action. And so if there's something you're looking up to somebody, or you're wanting to like open a Pilates studio or open a boutique or start a new business venture or make a new friend, whatever it is that somebody you're seeing doing that well, really study them
Mm-hmm.
and ask yourself, what are they doing different, or what are they willing to do that I'm not doing right now? And then if you can start taking those steps, you'll eventually become that thing,
Oh
or
yeah.
do that thing, or become that person, or embody that character trait or that mindset technique, right? It's reverse engineering.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. What are they doing that I am not willing to do right now, or that they are willing to do? And
Hmm.
that's one of the things, like waking up early.
Yeah.
That ain't easy. Teaching yourself, especially if you're not a morning person, which I'm
Read
a
the 5
morning
a.m.
person.
club.
Yes. And then it became like, because I'm so competitive, it like became a 4:30, 4 o'clock, 3:30, 3 o'clock. I'm like, okay,
That's
this is
crazy.
not helping me.
4
I
a.m.
did
is
that for
the
a
line.
while. Yeah. But sometimes, your body starts waking up and you're like, all right, it's 3:30. I'm going to get up in 30 minutes anyway. So I'll just get up,
Yeah.
but it does ruin your nighttime. But my point is, those are things that successful people are willing to
Hmm.
do. They're willing to get up. They're willing to go to bed early. They're willing to forego a party, forego a bar, forego anything that like pulls them
Away
away
from their
from,
goal.
yes.
Working on a weekend,
And that's
taking the
okay.
extra
That takes
calls,
confidence.
doing,
Whew.
saying no to the thing that's really fun and does light you up and gives you energy, but you're like, it's going to take me away from my goal. So having the discipline
Right.
to go, nope, that's going to take me off track. I got to stay in line. And
Correct.
that's where, like what you talked about at the beginning of having people that support you,
Mm-hmm.
becomes so important, because
Yeah.
those people that are like, no, come, or challenging you and not understanding or respecting it,
Mm-hmm.
you got to kind of put some arms distance in place during those times of your life, and only hang out with the people that are like, I get it. Do you got to do that. It's going to keep you on track.
Yeah. And that's just part of the mindset of respecting yourself and following what you want to do. Because if you keep saying yes to everyone, as
Yep.
you and I both know, we're people pleasers. Um,
Recovering people pleasers. Let's be clear.
like, I've worked hard, I need credit. Yeah, if you just keep saying yes to everybody, like, you
Mhm.
become resentful of the fact that you don't have time for yourself, and everything you need and want to get done isn't getting done.
Yep.
And that's not a healthy place to be, because you will eventually have a full-blown meltdown.
And that's part of your shitty mindset.
Yeah. And that's part of the fear or the lack
Hmm.
of.
Yep.
And to be gracious, what's the word I'm looking for?
Grateful.
Grateful. To be grateful, you that's coming from a place of abundance, whereas being fearful of missing out, for example.
Scarcity.
Yeah. So all of these things just
Yeah.
add up to the mindset.
And we gave a ton, and there's even more that you
There's
can
so
use.
much.
But I guess I would say our top three were having the awareness,
Yes.
affirmation / gratitude, unicorn brainstorming.
Yes.
Try those three to start.
Yeah. And then as we hear more from you guys, we will probably add on, because we both love
Love
this
mindset.
topic.
It's
So
fascinating.
it really
It's
is.
fascinating.
And if you want to hear more, please send us requests on maybe specific things, or if you just like this in general, like, please support us so that we can keep giving more tips on the hot girl mindset.
To support you. And just go out there, do your best.
Yeah.
Do your best.
1% better every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't have to be seen or noticed by anyone other than yourself, because you are the one that has to go to sleep at night and know that you are better today than yesterday.
I love it.
So you can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. We will see you
Ta-ta,
soon.
hotties.